in the game, and it's my pleasure to introduce to you your Terran contestant in this particular semi-final match of Assembly 2012. Heading from Team TSL and South Korea in the red trunks, playing Terran to the southwest, let's hear it for Polt. Versus his opponent. So yes, from Team FXO, also of course hailing from South Korea, playing Zerg in the blue trunks in the northeast of GSL Daybreak, it is FXO Lucky.
And of course, we talked about Lucky going up against Strelic early on, but Polt's had his share against Zerg players also, most notably against TLO that we did do, where he did drop a single map against that Ling Baneling style, but he did close up a series 2-0 against Phoenix in day one group stage also. And the style of Lucky, and most notably I remember watching Lucky at IPL 3 and his run in that tournament, taking out almost every single Slayer's Terran in that tournament through Ling, Baneling, Mutalist. Borrowed Banelings was most notably his thing because he did it against Slayer's Boxer a couple of times. So thinking that style, if we remember to TLO's game, that's the same kind of style this Ling, Baneling all in that Polt lost to. So if Polt doesn't cover angles such as those, well, Lucky could very well take the series. Lucky's
been known for doing a lot of sneaky things. Indeed, in the series versus Mana, he actually got a proxy hatch into the main, and that turned out to be disastrous for Mana. Lucky is willing to cheese, he's willing to all in, he's willing to various tactics, and that is what you have to be able to do at this level of play.
Absolutely, and if I remember correctly, his series against Tager in the GSL, not long ago either, Lucky versus Tager, we actually saw nothing but Ling, Banelings, and that's it. He didn't really tech up. That was just Ling and Banelings. And Tager, with solid defense in that series, was able just to defend and close it up. So at the same time, even though Polt may have some flaws, may lose to some all-ins here and there, if he plays a solid tight game, then that kind of style from Lucky may not even be viable here.
That's very true, and I think we can expect a solid game here from Polt. Would love to take that Overlord out. Sadly, it will hide itself. Not really sure how that works, honestly, but hey, there you go, it does the job. And then what have we got? We've got a bit of bunker pressure coming in, but there's no massive follow-up to this. It's just to force units out. It's just to try and get some drones as well to waste just a little bit of mining time. Polt's going to dance around a little bit. Good control there, but Lucky is all over that, and the chances of this bunker going up are fairly slim.
Yeah, indeed, and
definitely very
does
slim
go
now.
Down.
Yeah.
And he throws down a second queen inside his main, just to delay that a little bit, to build a few more Lings, to make sure he is safe against that. And the Lings are now at 6 in total, a little bit too many for what actually was happening here. And it's okay though, because he can still use them. There's a lot of, both Zalnog Towers, a lot of other areas that he can be in around the third base, the natural, and so on. But it looks like we are having a pretty standard follow-up here from Polt with the reactor high, but he's searching for that overload that we talked a little bit about before with this barracks, and is gonna get it. But maybe those 6 Lings could come into use now to actually snipe those Marines.
They could, potentially. He is a little too far. Where is he on the map with those Lings, actually? No, I don't think he's going to be able to do that, but it's a cool little use of the barracks. Admittedly, it does reveal almost certainly that it's Reactor Hellion. Admittedly, Lucky will also be expecting that anyway, so it's not exactly a huge revelation.
Absolutely, and he slows his stim timing down just a little bit, and any form of aggression is slowed down due to the barracks not being at home. So we're not going to see any aggression from Polt here, and if it does come, it will be delayed, giving Lucky that more reaction time. But once again, the Spine Crawl, we've seen this so much this weekend, but with the Ling threat there, Polt decides not to go in.
Yeah, that's the nice thing about having 6 Lings, really, isn't it? 6 Lings versus 2 Hellions, it's way too dodgy, really, to justify potentially wasting those Hellions. He'll be able to deny that creep tumor as well, and now has 4 Hellions in the mix, and is looking for 6 as well. See if he goes any further. Polt is the kind of player that will happily vary the number of Hellions he's got, depending on the situation, whereas you see other players like Thorzane, in this situation, he will only ever build 6. He'll never build more than that.
And with 6, he will switch over, because he's already let the creep spread go a level he shouldn't have because he was concentrated on getting that overlord. So if he does continue to build more, it's easily going to be picked up, and it's also easily counterable due to the creep spread already being out there. It's a lot easier for Lings to get the surround necessary. So he won't invest too much. He will, though, keep an idle. Basically, he wants to keep these Hellions alive. If he sees an opportunity to go in, then he will. But with an evolution chamber and an additional spine crawler, and an X amount of Lings, and I say X because Polt doesn't know how many there is. I doubt he'll take that lunge, but will definitely hold back the creep for now. Meanwhile, we do have a very standard play once again from Polt, and as TLO said in the interview, is that he doesn't really go for fast tanks, he is for a very fast medivac player. And just to close up that talk is that we actually did see a Ling go into the main base there of Polt, seeing absolutely everything.
Always nice. Look, he's going to be very, very happy about that. Knows what he's playing against and is going to go for Mutalisk as well as Baneling. So Ling, Baneling, Muta is an entirely viable strat. No problem about that whatsoever. And it's also going to seriously threaten any chance of nailing down some good drop play.
Oh, nice catch there by Lucky.
Yeah,
really nice catch there. And just a single Hellion for like damaging, well, killing 2 Lings and damaging another, that's absolutely
okay.
fine. So. And he does wear that Hellion count down, which is very important because with this style he's playing, he's just surrendering the option to take a third base until a lot more units are out and a lot more Lings are out. And even if he builds a lot more Lings, Polt still has that opportunity to kill a vast majority of them. So this is why we don't really see this traditional 2-base Spire play that often anymore.
That's very true, but that's what we're getting. And we're also getting some Banelings thrown into the mix as well. Polt moving over here with these Medivacs, interestingly, he's going to just flank around and have a look and see what he can see, using the Medivacs to perhaps have a look for Overlords hidden on in high places, maybe pick off 1 or 2. These Hellions continuing to deny any semblance of creep spread, and the reaction is, as we can see, 2-base Mutalisk play with Baneling support as well. Now, Polt does have an option here to drop, admittedly. He is going up against Banelings on creep, as well as Mutas that will be out by the time that hits. So a straight-up push makes more sense here.
And Stim's going to pick off an Overlord. 8 Mutas are at a pop here. Banelings are crucial. I mean, actually, I say that, there's not that many Marines, but still, of course, he's got to target fire the Banelings down, and as the Mutas pop, he cannot take Muta damage. If he loses Mutas, that is just so good for Polt.
Yeah, Polt is really good at targeting Banelings as well, but it looks like he might get a detonation on those Hellions, but wow, in fact, he does get that last, the last Baneling goes there. That could have been way better than it was. Polt target fires them down. Lucky doesn't quite get the hits he needs, but he does throw that back. So
yeah, Polt should just go back. Yeah, he's done significant damage. He killed Banelings, he killed Lings, he also picked off 2 Mutalisks and damaged 3. Fantastic trade for losing bare minimal.
Well, you can look at the resources lost. The difference at this actual level of play and at this time of the game is massive.
And upon seeing this style, this Baneling style, and also Bora Beam research, you know, there is that trademark from Lucky coming out here, is that you have to have tanks. There's no question about it. You cannot go Medivac and only Marines. Like we saw him play against TLO, Banelings will kill you. There's no doubt about it. And you have to get that tank count up to basically kill them in a couple of shots. Meanwhile, Mutalisk is now coming in. Polt, very narrowly cutting this corner, and that turret will get up just in time. Very, very close there.
I don't think it's going to work, though, because 1 turret is not enough against that many Mutas, admittedly. Thankfully, he's got plenty of SCVs ready to repair it, and he's not willing to take the risk. He could have taken it down. He'd have lost a couple of Mutas in the process.
Absolutely, and when he's already lost Mutas, he can't afford to lose anymore. He still hasn't even got a third base, as Polt cancelled, or not really cancelled, but killed the Lings and drone as they moved down here. And he's like on 2 base, and there's a 3rd command center near completion. Actually, an SCV was killed there, I think, and he's not building the command center. Big mistake here from Polt, and he does actually go ahead and but start to construct it one more time. But this is really, really nice with Polt here, and I'm feeling a little bit, well, look, he hasn't taken a 3rd base. I'm feeling a bit worried about him.
Yeah, we have plenty of base in the background just there, so maybe you can borrow one of that. But whatever the case, we've got these Mutas now defending this 3rd, and Polt's just pulling back in. This is the kind of time where the Zerg are starting to get spread out just a little bit, with fairly terrible creep spread as a result of everything that Polt's been doing to prevent it. If he knows where the Mutas are, and especially if he can kill them, then he can start to do drop harass. Aside from that, he's got to stick together, because the risk of being picked off by Mutalisks is just too high.
Oh man, and oh dear God, Lucky has no idea about this army marching towards his 3rd base, and if Polt gets there undetected and sets up his position, that 3rd base is going down. We already see Polt defending on his natural. He has a siege tank, he has Marines, he has more units being rallied out, and I can't believe Lucky hasn't seen this, and well, he's not living up to his ID now.
Not exactly.
And Polt is going to be able to get such a good position here. Marines are going to be upgraded with +1 as well. And I was going to say the only way he could defend this third base was if he saw it and borrowed banelings, but now that isn't even an option.
Yeah, that's going to have to be cancelled. There's no option of that, and even any kind of attack on the natural, he is cutting it. He didn't cancel.
Wow, this is just a terrible, terrible game here by Lucky, and Polt not making mistakes. It's all about Lucky making small mistakes here, and Polt just capitalizing on them. And again, drones coming down here. 3 drones are going to get picked off. 4 drones are going to get picked off. 5 drones are going to get picked off. Not looking good.
Here comes a big engagement, but I don't know how much damage you can really do. Tanks actually do land on the Marines, but there's plenty of reinforcements there. Not too much damage done, but all right, that was a series of unfortunate events, and trying to immediately go for a hatchery after that is certainly pushing it as well. And
one game changer could be these 2 banelings if they connect to an entire mineral line transfer, and I'm talking 16 SCVs or so. I don't know, they're not clumped up, so there's only a few there, but Lucky isn't even looking.
He can get the Marines. No, he doesn't want to do it. He doesn't want to do it.
He's focused in the center. He's had to cancel another base over here, and now Lucky's looking over there, and he has an opportunity to do some damage, but he's lost his third base again, and in goes Lucky, getting frustrated in this game.
Yeah, he's throwing it in here, but he does have a large enough force to at least do some damage, but once again, not an efficient trade. Polt can afford this. He's got 3 bases. He's totally comfortable, and Lucky's lost his, and I do mean lost. And honestly, Lucky's map control this game has not been good. He hasn't got a lot of awareness. His overlord spread, certainly okay for drops, but Polt has elected not to do that, because of course there's a high muta count. Why would you? He's entirely blind on the rest of the map.
Absolutely, and now he's finally halfway through construction of that 3rd hatchery. And his gas, look at his gas, he's only got 80. And all he has is just a few mutas and banelings. He just doesn't have enough of anything. And the Marines now are just getting heavily upgraded. 2-1 is about to complete, as well as +1 vehicle weapons. And Polt just slowing his opponent down, and every time hitting a timing attack on top with his upgrades, and he's pushing for it again.
Going for it, and Polt's going to try and clean out a little bit of creep spread. It was already not especially good as it is, and he's able to just take out just a little bit more. We've got that engagement here on the natural, however. Enough units to easily crash through a sort of threadbare defense, but thankfully Marines are coming in from behind to easily clean that up, so the damage done is fairly minimal. The resources lost tab shows just how much of a difference there really is here.
Indeed, and the thing is though, Toto Biscuit, is the tanks are all left naked. Well, actually, no, there is
Marines
15
there.
Marines there, so they will be able to stim and chase them away. So good cover there from Polt, but still this 3rd base isn't even mining for Lucky. There's no drones on it whatsoever, and now as Polt clears up that little counterattack by Lucky, he can unsiege and walk towards the 3rd base again, and the upgrades have finished now. 2-1 for the Marines, +1 for the vehicle, for the tank, should I say, and off he goes.
And it must be so incredibly comfortable right now. He's got an amazing supply lead. He has an amazing economic advantage. And when it comes to moving into this position, he's got this big upgrade advantage. And I don't know. I mean, this is just going to be, it's going to be a very expensive attempt, I think. And honestly, backing off with the banelings, not a great idea. Because, of course, if he doesn't commit, he's going to lose banelings on the way out. And he did so. Yet more resources lost there by Lucky.
Oh, big salvo from the Thor. And that Thor is saying, screw you, Lucky. Screw you.
He cares not for your flippantry. +1 is available for him there, and he's going to be able to get a great salvo off. That's a perfect position as well, because that is exactly where the flank would come. More damage coming in. The banelings will come to clean that up. But once again, they're going to run right into tank fire, and this won't be an efficient trade.
Oh, look at it. Oh, there's so much damage being dealt here by Polt, and all the Marines are actually at the back here. The banelings still survive. Will there be enough left over? And no is the answer.
Not a chance. GG.